What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be repairing a MX5 Global Cup Car, so stay tuned. Alright, so we're here at Atlanta Speedworks. I've already got this car loaded up. Going to give you guys a quick walk around, let you get a look at it, and then we'll hit the road, head back to the shop. It's all secured and ready to go, so here we go. Alright, so we're back at the shop. Let's get this car off the trailer, get it in the shop, and get it up on the frame machine. Alright, so I drove it up on the frame machine. What we got to do now is just get up underneath it, do some measurements, see how bad the frame is bent, because I think it's actually swung. So once we do that, also we're going to get the fenders off, the hood off, and the front bumper cover, get the front end taken apart so we can see what parts we need to order, and we'll order those parts and get them in. So we're going to get right on that now. Let's get that front end apart. It's deceiving about this car. It doesn't look like it's wrecked that bad. The main reason it doesn't is because they crashed the car and then they put a new cradle in it and the frame rails were swung, so they had to just put it together as best they could to go around the track and make a few more laps and do some racing. But it's deceiving when we get the car. Sometimes we look at the car and it's like, oh, it's not wrecked that bad, and then we start taking panels off and it's a lot worse than we initially anticipated. So that's why we're going to take the fenders and the front end apart, just to make sure, and also pull some measurements. Alright, so this is what we're working with here. This is the cradle. This actually is what the suspension bolts to, this black piece here. It's got bars that run all the way up towards the front here, and it bolts onto the front of the frame rail. This frame rail, if you look down in the hole, needs to go that way, not very much. If you look down in the hole on this side, you can barely see any of the hole, so this frame rail needs to go that way a lot more. Also, the gaps up top here are really tight. They're kind of tight all the way down, but they're really tight at the top on both sides. So that's an indication of it being up. We got to pull measurements to make sure, but I don't think that this frame rails are up, but I do think the core support is up, just based off, see that kink there? I think this core support is pushed up, which is holding the fenders up in the front, which will tighten up the top gap. See that kink there? It will tighten up the top gap on the fender to the door. So I think if we get that core support down and get these frame rails over, that should just about fix it, minus putting on some sheet metal. I think the hood might need to be replaced. We're going to try to see if we can pull that bow out of it, but we'll have to see. Okay, so now that we know what we think is wrong, let's get this thing clamped down on the frame machine. Alright, so we've got it measured out. It's pretty much what we expected. The frame rails are swung. They are not up, but they are swung. So we've got to get this thing pulled. Guess the only thing left to do now is just pull it. So here we go. Alright, so we got the frame rails the correct width apart. So we're going to bolt this old rebar. It's one off of a damaged car. It's got a little bit of damage here, but it's still the right length between the two. We're going to bolt it to it, wrap a strap around this, and pull. That way we can pull both frame rails, because they are the correct distance apart, but they are still swung a little bit. So we want to pull them both at the same time, so we're going to use this rebar. So when the hood gets hit in the front, it shortens the hood and puts a bow right here. And this being aluminum, it's real springy. You have to pull it really far to get the bow out. We hooked to the front of the hood and pulled it, and we got a majority of the bow out, but it still has a rise right here, and it doesn't meet up with the fender very well. So we're going to put a hood on this car. Alright, so now we've got her pulled, everything measured out great. We're going to get this thing put back together. Final assembly. Putting all the splash shields, the front bumper, the fender, everything bolted all back up like it's supposed to be. Alright, so you see me putting this on the car. This is called crepe tape, and it's basically a cloth tape. And what it's used for is the plastic ducts between the radiator and the bumper that direct the air into the radiator. It covers the seams. You basically, any seam you have, it fills that seam, kind of like a seam sealer, but with tape, to help the flow of air direct into the radiator. It's pretty important for keeping the car running cool. Like this piece right here goes right up in here, and this sits against the radiator, so the airflow comes in from the catfish mouth of the radiator, of the bumper, and flows and keeps everything going through the radiator instead of around the radiator. This has some black crepe tape here, basically between this metal piece and this plastic piece, basically to keep air flowing where it's supposed to flow and not flowing where it's not supposed to flow. Pretty important for keeping the car running cool during racing. So you'll see me putting that on all the seams. Alright, so I finally got her put back together. Final assembly is complete. We're going to get her off the frame machine, get her cleaned up a little bit, and let the wrap guys know that it is ready to be picked up to get wrapped. Let's get her off the frame machine now. Here we go. Alright, so we got this car finished. Basically I have to prime the raw bumper so that the vinyl, the sticker, the wrap will stick to it, and then they wrap directly onto the OEM panels. We had to prime the door, repair it a little bit on the front of the door. So the only painting we really do on this car, just pop this hood, is we jammed out the bottom of the hood. We don't really even jam the tops of the fenders because they have this black rubber seal that goes on the fenders, so I don't even cut those in anymore. But I do cut in the hood. And what I mean by cut in, I paint the bottom side. That's pretty much all we have to do to it. They're going to come pick it up and take it to the wrap shop. Pearls of wisdom from ODB.
Most people think the reason their clothes don't fit anymore is the dryer. I think it's probably the refrigerator.
So that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. Words are hard. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share and comment and all of those good things. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. See ya! Today we're going to be repairing is it an or a MX5? An MX5? I don't know. We know which we need. So they are the white.